Aquarius, what is going on? Welcome into the channel. So happy to have you here always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to look at your energy via the tarot, astrology, and any channeled messages that come our way. So let's get into it, Aquarius. Happy new week. Thank you so much for being patient and flexible for these videos to come out. It's been really hectic. Aries season just has a tendency for that, right? It's fire energy. It's really been kind of enlivening some of that inspiration within us. Aries season is all about investing in self. And we're just coming off of a full moon in Libra. Venus and Mercury have been in retrograde. They since have gone direct. But partnerships, relationship dynamics were really being highlighted recently. And a lot of that comes back to that value that we see how these dynamics are working out for us. We see how they're playing out, whether they fit, whether they resonate, whether they've run their course, whether they need some readjustment, etc. And it's highlighting whether people actually want to do the readjusting or not, or whether they're willing to work with us or not. Essentially clearing the path for new. We don't have a lot of new opportunities in this moment because I feel like a lot of it is about working out what we have in front of us, i.e. Uranus in Taurus. We're about to move into Taurus season, which is all about taking these ideas that we want to manifest and then actually bringing them in reality. And specifically with what the tools that we have at our disposal, not disposable. You can use disposable tools if that makes sense for you. Yeah, but it is kind of a lot. It's kind of a lot. At the same time, like if we're just showing up authentically, doing the best that we can, we're going to get a lot of really good results. That's why I like to start off with these energy cleansings, just kind of set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out any blocks, obstacles we might be coming into. It's a really great time for you to set your own intention for the reading as well, especially if you've come in, Aquarius, with something on your heart, on your mind, something you would like Spirit to deliver messages to you around. Definitely give that over, be open to receive. It's a great way to personalize these collective readings. And I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing, wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how things are faring, where they're headed, etc. Or if you're just looking more for a realignment of self, mind, body, soul. I do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness counseling. When we're coming from that space of being aligned, feeling strong within ourselves, we're more apt to make decisions that are actually leading towards our happiness and fulfillment, that actually give us what we want versus instant gratification or something that kind of craps out pretty quickly. So all that info to get in contact with me is in the description box below. I would love to help support in whatever way possible. Definitely hit me up. I'd love to connect. All right, Aquarius, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so we may see and understand the messages clearly and help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love, Mama Love. Amen. All right, Aquarius. So, you know, the energy's been interesting. We've had like super heightened water element, and this has kind of been going on for a minute. I'm even getting annoyed with saying it over and over again. I can't imagine how you guys must feel, but literally it's really just kind of like highlighting, or I shouldn't say highlighting, it's bringing up, it's triggering a lot of emotion, a lot of feeling. And Saturn has been in Pisces. There's this little cluster playing off of Saturn, Venus, Mercury in Pisces that has kind of been exasperating the challenge, the difficulty. Not good, bad, right, or wrong. I really see this as an opportunity to kind of see what's working and what's not. And some of this stuff is not as fun to point out, especially if we are dealing with people who are pretty close to us or people that it's hard to kind of let go of. I was hearing that, like, as I was doing the blessing, I was hearing that it's like sometimes things just have to fall apart, right? It feels not like you've had a tower moment, but I think a lot of things have kind of crumbled. And you don't feel shell-shocked anymore. I'm not picking that up from your energy. What I'm actually picking up is like, you're like, okay, what do I have to work with? How am I going to rebuild? How do I want to go back about this in a different kind of way? And that's really powerful right now, Aquarius, making sure that we're building with a level of intentionality, that it's not just willy-nilly, because it's going to kind of get us back into the same space again. It does look like you've had to kind of see things about people, situations that really weren't what you thought it was, that weren't really in alignment. I'm hearing like with your spirituality or your morals, your values, something really highlighted a huge disconnect. And it's been a little difficult. It is forcing you to kind of go back to the drawing board. There is a fair amount of tension in the astrology, and then I think coupled with that water element, it is kind of making things feel a little all over the place. But we actually have way more support than what we even realize. And as much as negativity has a tendency to cloud the positivity, there's always silver linings. There's always things that we can kind of come back to empower ourselves, to strengthen ourselves through the process. And I feel like that's really what you are doing right now. However, it is requiring a reevaluation of self, whether this is thoughts, beliefs about who you are, about what you deserve, or just the things you choose, right? The people, places, and things that you're interacting with that might not be for the highest and best. It might make some sense on some level and fit the bill at the time that you need it, but some things feel short-lived, or some things feel like, again, just disconnect in specifically morals and values, specifically like, you ascribe to this one way of living and then someone else just was not. And I feel like this is someone who tried to tell you that they were, right? That they were, but there's been too many for instances at this point. And that's kind of where I feel that peace coming in for you, Aquarius. You've made peace with yourself. You've made peace with the situation, with the other person. Choices are going to have to be made, but you're taking your time. It does look like that, like you're not doing anything too quick. Because I feel like now that you realize it's time to go back to the drawing board. I know I said that, but it's like you're in the planning stages is the point I want to get across. The planning stages. What I love is it's connecting you with something or someone that is nostalgic, is heartfelt, is this is kind of like you got off track, and now as you're getting back on course, it's connecting you with this part of yourself that you're like, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to do. That's how I wanted this to look. That's what I wanted to feel. That's the kind of relationship I wanted to have, etc. I feel like, but here's the thing, you are still kind of contending with past people, past situations. I like this. You're standing in your power, the Emperor. You're not letting anybody screw you over this week. As much as maybe there's not a lot happening, people are starting to get afraid. People who are around you, they've pushed the wrong buttons is what I'm hearing, Aquarius. And not that you're necessarily an aggressive sign per se, but you're kind of in this boss mode is what I'm seeing. No bullshit. You're just going to say, hey, this is what works, this is what doesn't, and I'm not budging, I'm not moving. And it is really stressing someone out. It's stressing someone. I feel, here's the thing, this looks like someone who is expecting you to quote unquote fall in line or choose the same thing they were choosing or believe them first, etc. And now I feel like you've challenged this. I feel like you've challenged this individual. You've challenged the situation. You're requiring new standards for the people, situations that are in your life. And it's this energy of shit or get off the pot, right? If this person's situation doesn't want to make the necessary changes, then you're out of there is what I'm seeing. Because you've kind of had enough of it. This is something that you've committed to long term, or something that's been around long term that consistently is making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And all it's doing is bringing a lot of stress, a lot of messiness. Primordial is that like primitive instinct, that base instinct. When we're not like, hey, how can I be a better person, right? That's what humans can do, that consciousness component. But this is more like, I'm gonna screw someone over. And that's how this energy feels a little bit. And you've had enough. You've had enough. You don't wanna play this game anymore. You're setting boundaries. I also think there are parts of you, don't hate me for saying this, Aquarius, but there are parts of you that need to be looked at so you can see how you get involved into these dynamics, how those choices come up, right? Like what people are saying to rope you in or wrangle you in, or how you contribute was what I was looking for specifically. Right? What are some things that maybe you can do some readjusting in? Sometimes we think we know the answer and we assume, but we all know what assuming does. It makes an ass out of you and me, right? So that's that value. I'm feeling like oftentimes you might be a little bit immature in your approach, or take knee-jerk reaction. Well, if they did this, then I'm going to do this, without really finding out all the details. Again, that base instinct, fight or flight, whether we want to deal with something or not. But sometimes that can get us into a lot of detriment. And here's the thing: someone's operating out of a severe amount of hurt and pain and sadness, and I feel like that's why they make some really bad choices. But this is also something within themselves that they have to heal, that you're not even responsible for. And regardless, things are moving towards a new beginning. While there might not be a lot of drama for you this week, which is kind of nice, actually what we're seeing in the astrology is the fire element is starting to enliven. So I'm really seeing this as we're starting to feel like empowered by the difficulties, the disconnects, the places where, emotions, feelings, people trigger us, can get the best of us, etc. And starting to say, like I was saying, no more. You don't want to deal with it anymore. You are putting up some boundaries, especially because this is a dynamic that is important to you. And so it's at this point where you're like, okay, I see this. This is what I'm going to do. If you want to come along, if you want to find a way to work together, great. If you don't, then I'm not interested anymore. I feel like this is going to be really hard for whomever, whatever you're dealing with, to understand this. I'm seeing a need, like I said, for a lot of like self-reflection within themselves. Not to throw shade at anyone, but again, this definitely feels like someone who just operates out of bad behavior, or those more base instincts, the hurt, the pain, the sadness that we've kind of been talking about. But it's, again, when we function from that space, it often leads us to roadblocks, right? We often come into obstacles, and that's not fun. And I feel like that's what you're over, You're over the emotion, you're over the roller coaster, you're over the up and down. Libra energy has been coming out all across the board this week. It is our partnerships. And, this is, again, exposing how those roller coaster moments, the toxicity, the triggerings of emotions really affect our dynamics. And you are stepping back, taking an opportunity to say, I want to manifest this in a new way, in a different way, in a way that's more powerful for myself. And you're not veering off of that. What I would say to you, don't leave the situation too soon. It's going to be kind of easy to do because you're so over it. Give a little space, allow it to naturally unfold. I feel like that's part of maybe where you need to pump the brakes a little bit. Sometimes when we make a decision, it's easy to be like, see ya, especially because air is quick energy. But at the same time, I feel like there's value in taking it slow. And actually, as I'm saying this, that's how Mars is aspected in the astrology right now. Mars is our action potential, and it's being slowed down so that we're not doing anything stupid, right? We're not doing anything this guy would do. All right, Aquarius, thank you so much for your time, energy, always. I hope this reading helped. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here. Definitely drop comments below if you did. I love to hear, or just say, hey, share in a little love, a little TLC. I so appreciate all the love, all the support that you bring to the channel. No, I'm sending it back your way.